Hi everyone, my name is Connor Tluck from the Solution Architecture team here at Nearmap. I wanted to really quickly do a demo video of one of our new web apps here, primarily for the solution engineering team. And the reason I say that is because the application exists for use cases on a client who is developer heavy and they have need to really better understand how our APIs are delivering data via the JSON format. So we actually had one of my manager found a fantastic open source library called JsonCrack, and what this does is it actually takes JSON data and it brings it into a flowchart type visualizer. So we built a very quick front end that is going to demonstrate this structure. And for things like the AI feature API, where there's some pretty interesting nesting going on, it's a really quick way to get your head around it, understand it, explain it to clients who have questions on, hey, how do I access this exact data point from the JSON data structure? So going to the project directory here, we can go to the JsonCrack API visualizer here, open that web app. And then we can see on the left tab here, there's a number of different APIs that have already been written in here. So coverage API, the DSM, transactional, and the AI feature API. I'm going to just give a kind of quick synopsis of each one. What you're actually going to see when you open each one of the tabs up is the original API call with the API key removed. So just to kind of walk through exactly what those parameters might look like, as well as the source JSON response from the API is going to be right in this little text box here. Anything that you put in this text box can be updated. If you hit the send JSON to embedded, it will send it within the embedded widget here that is in the viewing window, and it will update it. So if you do want to change to a different payload, you can just paste into that area, and you'll see the new flowchart updated accordingly. Something to keep in mind right now in development, the URL here is just kind of a dummy URL. It's not, you can't auto refresh it. Maybe that might be something built in later, but at the moment, it's only just reading the JSON payload that has been extracted prior and pasted in. So again, for the coverage, it's really nice to see, all right, so I made my coverage request, and then, all right, here's my list of available capture dates, as well as for each one of these, what is available for that one, right? If I go into this one for 2018, underneath the location resource tag, as well as the tag, what kind of information is available, and you can keep unpacking that structure until you get all the way down. So the example here for 2018, for resources, there are tile resources available in the vertical type only. For coverage call, it's very, very straightforward, honestly, but it's a nice little clean structure here. You can see that, I'm sorry, this is for the coverage, for the DSM API, so it's a little different because it's returning your coverage information for DSM data, but also the token that you need for a subsequent call. So the token's been shortened here, but you can see you'll get some of the kind of metadata that's associated with the request, the transaction token here, and then within that structure for the survey data, all of the available survey dates, as well as the IDs. And the IDs are necessary for your content request. So the client will need to use the ID from the coverage call as well as the transaction token, and then what type of data. So if they want detailed DSM, true ortho, or vert, they have to specify that in the content request, and then their image will be returned. I'm going to skip the transactional API explanation here, but I do want to touch on the AI feature API call, because there's a really good example of why this is a valuable tool to have the visualizer. If I scroll in here, the AI feature API specifically has some interesting nesting that's good to be able to explain visually. So right here for the building footprints, you can see within the features tag, you have all the different AI features that are available. You can see gable roof is here, building, concrete slab, medium high veg, and the list goes on. But underneath the building footprint, you'll notice that there's some different attribution information that isn't present for other features. For this one, there is a building 3D attribute, as well as, hey, basically JSON structure saying, yes, there is 3D attribution available. Some height measurements available in feet and meters, as well as a number of stories tag, which is the confidence of how many stories this building might have. So the reason that's important is if a client specifically has a use case where they need that information, being able to visually show them yeah, you're going to want to hit the building footprint and then unpack from there is really helpful and straightforward, and it's going to help to reduce the amount of questions that come back to support and sales engineering. In addition, on the sidebar here, there's also some redirect links to the API Swagger docs, which are obviously probably the best way to demonstrate exactly what the functionality of the APIs are by testing those endpoints directly on the web app. But here, this is a really nice visualization tool, and down the line might also be nice to merge those two Swagger docs as well as have the visualization embedded widget as well. But thanks everyone for a couple minutes here. Always feel free to reach out to the solution architecture team, and thanks again for everyone's time.